Alright, so here I am with a new list that I've been working on, which is Mono Black Tron. It's nothing too crazy, but it has some cool ideas. So first up, the lands. We're playing 20 lands, obviously a full set of each of the Tron lands, and then just 8 basic swamps. So many of our card choices will be the same as other Tron lists. So of course we're running the newly unbanned Expedition map. It's 1 mana for an artifact with pay 2 mana, tap, sacrifice Expedition map, search your library for a land, and put it into your hand. So one of the best ways to search for the Tron lands. Okay, then we're also playing 4 copies of Chromatic Star and Chromatic Sphere. So they're both very similar. They basically let you filter mana, and when the artifacts are put into a graveyard, you draw a card. Okay, for more ramp and card draw, we're playing 2 copies of Mindstone. It's a 2 mana artifact. It has tap, add 1 colorless, and it also says pay 1 generic, tap, sacrifice Mindstone, draw a card. So since we're not playing green, we lose out on cards like Ancient Stirrings and Crop Rotation, so we need some card draw and some ways to actually get our Tron lands. So one of the better options available to us is Night's Whisper. It's very similar to Sign in Blood. It's a sorcery, it's 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 black. It says you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Okay, we also pack some removal, so we're playing 3 copies of Cast Down. It's 2 mana for an instant, 1 generic, 1 black. Destroy target non-legendary creature. Then I'm running 2 copies of Echoing Decay. It's 2 mana for an instant, 1 generic, 1 black. Target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So it's quite nice against tokens and tribal strategies like elves. Okay, then for more card draw, we have Read the Bones. It's a sorcery for 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 black. It says scry 2, then draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. So essentially Night's Whisper, but with scry as well. And then finally we have our threats, so some of them are the same that you'll see in some other new Tron lists. Like for example, we're playing Self-Assembler. It's an artifact creature for 5 mana, it's a 4/4. It says when Self-Assembler enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an assembly worker creature and put that card into your hand. So Self-Assembler is an assembly worker, so in this deck we use it to search for other copies of itself. Then I'm also playing 2 copies of Gurmag Angler. What's quite nice is that we have quite a lot of cards that go into our graveyard, like we cast removal, we cast card draw, we sacrifice artifacts. So it's relatively easy to fill up the graveyard to cast Gurmag Angler cheaply. So Gurmag Angler, of course, it's 7 mana for a 5/5, 6 generic, 1 black, and it has Delve, which says each card you exile from your graveyard while casting this spell pays for 1. Then finally, at the top of our curve, we have our biggest threats. We have 4 copies of Ulamog's Crusher, 8 mana for an 8/8 with Annihilator 2, and it attacks each combat if able, so just one of the biggest monsters to wreck your opponent's board with. And then also we are playing 3 copies of Maelstrom Colossus. It's 8 colorless mana for a 7/7 with Cascade. So when you cast it, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card that costs less, and you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So also one of the best colorless high mana cost threats. So that's the deck. I found it pretty fun. Certainly a work in progress, so I'm open to all feedback. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.